Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the Exceptional Conservative Show live from the nation's capital. We are certainly not ashamed of the good news of conservatism, for it is the power of liberation, first to the Republican and then to the tyrant. We have with us tonight a tremendous guest, the former director of global planning for Siemens Energy, Yukong Zhao, is with us tonight. He is running for Florida's 7th Congressional District as a GOP candidate. It is a tremendous honor and pleasure to have you on here, Mr. Zhao. We want to talk with you tonight about coronavirus and whether the work that's been done by the Trump administration, the work that's been done by Congress, the work that has been done by the state and local entities, does that measure up to great success for America? Are you happy with the outputs? Do you have recommendations of improvement?
Yes, I think I highly commend what the President Trump and also state and local government are doing. I think President Trump was right to close the flight from China at the end of January, and also the local government right now speed up, made a lot of take a lot of effective measures, like recommend social distancing, and many also ramp up the development or discovery the treatment, the medical treatment, innovation. A lot of things are highly commendable, but I also think one area we can improve, which is learn from the best practice from the world. What I meant here is learn from South Korea. South Korea is a country suffer, one of the most, that can impact. However, they were able to really flatten the curve. Right now they're cases, infected cases are going down.
Yes.
Also, the the death rate is very low. So what set their apart is they did two things right. One is aggressive testing, another is using the big data, IT technology to trace, to even the person. If a person went to infected person went to a movie theater, they were able to trace that theater and a specific seat number that person sat there in last 1 or 2 days ago. But that is a great achievement. So they are using the high tech, using testing. They are leading the world in terms of combating coronavirus.
See, now a lot of Americans are deeply upset with how things are going in Washington, D.C., not necessarily what the Trump administration is doing, but what Congress is doing. And so I want to give you the opportunity, because you made some recommendations to the Trump administration, and we want to know what those recommendations are and how they have been received.
I actually just issued the recommendation. I met to the White House coronavirus task force on March the 20th, basically. I think they are properly processing and digesting that. The near term is really try to learn from South Korea, the model I described, aggressive testing and also high-tech, big data, that kind of approach. The good thing about this approach is, right now, America, because we have not done enough testing yet, we're fighting in the dark, right? If we know enough testing, we know, for example, in New York, we have big, contagious, areas, but in somewhere in West Virginia, in other places, probably the case, in fact, case is very little. In this case, we can restore the social economic activities that can minimize the economic impact, right? So that is the right approach to go. So that is my near-term number one recommendation. Number two recommendation for the future is we need somebody take lead on strategic planning. So I think what we learned is, from South Korea or other countries, right? Whenever there's a case, there's a risk. our government should have a couple experts, to take the lead on the scenario planning. This person needs to, number one, to rapidly develop the testing. Also need to evaluate, do we have enough stock of the medical equipment, right? This person needs to take aggressive scenario planning from strategic standpoint, not only look at hospital, also supply chain, also like socio-economic impact. That's number one in my long-term recommendation.
Yes.
Number two is we need also review and eliminate the over-regulated public health bureaucracy. In CDC, FDA, there's a lot of red tape. I think President Trump already taking great action to fix that on the short term, temporarily. But in the long term, when I go to the Congress, I want to fix that, review that.
Yes.
In one case, in Washington State, some technicians, experts in the research lab, she, like a lady called Helen Chu, she tried to do testing, but she was not allowed by the existing regulation. So that is delayed the discovery of the disease that is, not acceptable in America.
Exactly.
And also number three, everybody talk about that we have a lot of strategic, very essential medical supply made in China or the nations who are not really alive with us, right? So
yes.
This is, I think, the government speaks that. So that is pretty much my recommendation from South Korea. 3 long-term recommendations to really improve our country's readiness for another similar disease.
My bouncer in chief in the chat room has a question for you tonight, and it's regarding the use of the term Wuhan flu or China virus or Chinese virus, and she would like to know: do any of those terms bother you? Do they offend you?
I want to say, okay, so number one, why President Trump used the Chinese virus? That was driven by the propaganda of the Chinese foreign ministry. One official, spread rumors that it was the military athletes of America that, started the virus in Wuhan as sort of like, fight back President Trump. He used that word. But unfortunately, like the linguistically Chinese, this word but means of China also means of Chinese people, right?
Yes.
So for the first term, I don't have a problem, but the second term, may not be, I think we can avoid. So I don't like, in general, I don't like Washington Post, but there's one article recently, called it very properly in Washington Post. It says we should call CCP virus, Chinese Communist Party virus, because it was the Chinese Communist Party really delayed and also covered for 3 weeks and then caused this worldwide, epidemic. So that I think, I would recommend to use the CCP virus inside the Chinese virus in myself.
Mr. Zhao, because I really appreciate that explanation, because we are a whipping stock for the left when it comes to the term racist. And I don't know where you get racist from in terms of China. It's where the geography was, where the origins of the disease or the virus itself. And I love the explanation that it's not the people of China that merit that particular title, but it is the Chinese Communist Party that merits the name of the virus. The Chinese, do you feel that they are an enemy, or at least the Chinese Communist Party, do you feel that they are an enemy of the U.S. right now?
I want to say, I don't think they want to be enemy per se, because they made a huge concession in the recent trade negotiation, right?
Yeah.
But I think they did not do a good job to really live up the modern civilization. The reason is when they first found out this contagious disease in Wuhan, I don't know if local government official or the central government official, they cover for 3 weeks, right? They made some mistake.
Mm-hmm.
If a modern, civilized government, they should be, very frank about that.
Yeah.
They can make apologies, right? Make apology. I want to say, former, a Chinese president called Hu Jintao, the one before the current one, that when SARS disease happened in China. Although, that government did not make a huge mistake like this. But the Hu Jintao was very humble. He said in a very international meeting, he said he feels sorry and he apologized to the world, to the Chinese people. So in this case, nobody criticizes them anymore, right? So
Yeah.
I think what the Chinese government needs is really, live up with the modern, this kind of standard, and instead cover up and then try to spread a rumor that is irresponsible, also is shameless to spread the rumor by saying the U.S. military athletes caused the disease. Actually, even the director of that hospital treated the foreign athletes already clarified they did not suffer any coronavirus. They suffered one malaria, other disease.
Mm-hmm.
Malaria.
Yeah.
Malaria disease has medical.
Mrs. Zhao, and we thank you so much for coming on our program tonight. You're running in the 7th Congressional District of Florida. What say you regarding Governor DeSantis' handling of the coronavirus outbreak? Pro and con, are there good, there's bad, is there ugly? How has things been handled there?
I think government DeSantis has been doing a good job. I think he also gave warning to the students during the spring break, right, to enforce the social distancing. A lot of good things he's been doing. But I want to share with the audience, like many other states, will also suffer a shortage of testing capabilities. I think as well as America, our federal government ramps up less capabilities and more cases can be tested, and then we will know where is our enemy. But in this case, we don't have to shut down the whole state. We can only shut down areas with a heavy infection. So in this case, really make our economic recovery faster.
Exactly. The Democrats were opposed on January 31st to the president closing the borders. And they accused him of being racist in doing so. And then just a few weeks ago, Chuck Schumer got onto the floor of the U.S. Senate and advised that Donald Trump was not doing enough to protect the American people from an outbreak of coronavirus. Do you believe that the Democrats are politicizing this particular virus outbreak? And is it showing up and delaying the passage of bills in the U.S. House and Senate?
Unfortunately, yes. In many cases, they hate President Trump more than they love America. That is, some cases. And I also pay attention to the debate about, the rescue package. So I heard Democrats want to impose some Green New Deal terms or some kind of policy into this package, have nothing to do with rescue the economy. So I think they are not doing a good job in terms of helping America. I think they need to learn. Some of them need to learn from some Democratic governor and try to really put the people first, not the partisan politics first.
Exactly. Now, you're running for the U.S. House of Representatives, 7th Congressional District. Um, in this particular race, what is the number one issue that the people of the 7th Congressional District are most concerned about, and how can you help them by coming to Washington?
Well, previously, I think like the supporting from like the Republican voter standpoint, supporting President Trump is a very big issue. So actually, I would support President Trump's successful economic and also immigration policy, many policies, and that is number one. Currently, I believe most voters are concerned about this coronavirus. Although I'm not a healthcare expert, but I have more than 20 years strategic management experience, so I was able to develop among all the candidates. I was the first one to put together, release the policy recommendation to address coronavirus. So I think I can do a very good job for the 7th district to help them on this issue. And one thing I would want to clarify,
Yes.
President Trump is not racist against Asian Americans. He already today, tweeted, say, he loves Asian Americans. Asian Americans have nothing to do with the coronavirus, and he wants to protect Asian Americans. So, that's something I want to clarify with the audience.
Primary, sir.
It will be August 18th, about almost 5 months away.
Now, in terms of your primary, do you believe how the economy is doing after the coronavirus will impact how people vote for you?
I guess the most important is really, I think that probably will have more impact on the general election than the primary. I think the primary among the Republican candidates, they're looking for leaders, proven leaders, who can really handle the big national policy issue, who can really have conservative value, also who can really have proven problem-solving skills. I want to tell the audience I have all that, so I can deliver, I can serve my district. So I'm confident, on the primary. But in the general election, and if the whole economy continues going south, that probably will create some negative impact for Republican candidates. But I believe, President Trump is doing a good job, and I'm confident, the economy will bounce back before the general election.
I agree with you wholeheartedly. How can people support you? How can they find you on the internet? Where can people go to make certain that you join us in Washington, D.C.?
Yeah, my website is called yukongzhao.com, YUKONGZHAOSOR, Congress, Yukong Zhao for Congress.com. Please go there to support me, and you can donate for me for my campaign, and also help me spread the message in my district.
Thank you so much for being on with us tonight. Thank you also for alleviating our concerns regarding the application of the term racist to Wuhan flu, and that we should name it the Chinese Communist Party virus. I like that. I think I'm going to start doing that. There we go. Mr. Zhao, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ken.
All right. Look forward to your return to our program very soon. Ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Thank you. Yukong Zhao with us tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Running in the 7th Congressional District, a conservative who believes in the Second Amendment, who also believes that it is the Chinese Communist Party that created this particular virus from the amount of incompetency and bravado and propaganda, accusing the U.S. of bringing through its military the disease to Wuhan. Amazing, simply amazing. Strong conservative, has a great deal of experience in terms of private industry management and global development. Yukong Zhao, ladies and gentlemen, 7th Congressional District. Make certain that you go to his website, Yukong Zhao for Congress.com. We will be right back with more of the best in urban conservative talk, ladies and gentlemen. They get together. We are a republic, not a democracy, ladies and gentlemen. You are watching TECN TV, the best in urban conservative news and talk, TheExceptionalConservative.com. We'll be back, ladies and gentlemen, with more of the best right after these messages.